Welcome to the fifth and final milestone. Last one was quite a challenging one where we presented our game to our scene. So now we have a working game tab. In this module, we're going to look at filling this space here with a nice donut graph. It's a good little exercise for representing data. So in order to do this, we're going to go to our profile view that we created earlier. I'm going to get rid of these windows just to give ourselves a bit more space. And underneath our struct, we're going to create a new view for our chart view. So start off the same as we did before. If you can't remember your structure for your format for your structure, if you go up to that add button, you can of course add in your structure. So we're going to call this chart view, and it's going to be of type view. We of course need to have our initializer. We'll set our opaque view. We're going to have a Z stack. And inside that Z stack, so Z stack allows you to stack items on top of each other. Just a word of warning, if you try and use these for games, you won't be able to select anything. So this works for views, but not for sprite views. So I'm going to stack three things on top of each other. There'll be a circle, there'll be another circle, and there'll be some text, which will be sitting in the middle. So if I run this now, it's not going to do anything because we're not presenting our views and we don't have anything actually here. So let's add some text to suppress this warning. So in here we're going to format some text. So we're going to round the numbers. This is just rounding our numbers to make sure that it is a percentage which is being shown. From there, we can set the font. Set the foreground color. And notice this is still giving me an error. That's because graph value doesn't exist. So what we're going to do is use the shared code within our project. So if I go to my shared code, this can be accessed across everything. So inside here, I'm going to create a public value. Which can define float. So if you wanted to extend this project, we could actually manipulate this to see whatever your score is in your game. We can manipulate this in that. So I'll leave that as an extension for you. But now I've suppressed that error. Next thing I want to do is to work on my properties for my first circle. So this one, I'm going to have a line width of 40. I'm going to set the opacity of this one to be 0.3. Set my foreground color to be white. And then my properties for my other circles. So this is going to be the little section which gets displayed. This one, I'm going to trim my circle from 0.0 to again use that graph value that I created. Oops. I'm then going to stroke this, so add the stroke, the outline of it. Put a line cap, so these are just the properties of the line, so it's how it will look. It's going to be a nice rounded style. Set my color. I'm going to set an effect so it can rotate. Okay, and the last thing I need to do is to actually present this. So if I go up to where my spacer is, okay, so I've got my spacer here. I'm going to put my chart view in here, another spacer on the other side of it, so it's going to sit in the center, and then I'm going to set the size of this view. And add a little bit of padding. So now when I run it, I should now have my chart view. So this is the end of the 5th and final milestone. As I mentioned, you may want to extend this so that your game manipulates your global value, so that then each time you press restart, it will update your view here.